Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we will be talking about the 10 highest paying nursing jobs, and I'm so excited to film this because a lot of you asked me to make this video because I know a lot of you are still trying to figure out what type of nurse do you guys want to be. I think it's important to know how much you're gonna be making as a nurse as well as the description of your jobs, so that's why I really wanted to make this video. Also, I really wanted to do my makeup. I wanted to do my makeup and just kind of get ready and feel cute, because if you're like me, you've been in your pajamas and looking crazy for the past 3 to 4 weeks. Let's be honest, I have been doing the minimum, sometimes brush my hair and sometimes I don't. That's just how it is. I do want to show you guys my shirt. This company sent me this shirt and they also sent me another shirt that says the exact same thing. However, this one has the future cross because technically once you graduate, you're a nurse. So they were kind enough to give me a 15% discount code for you guys, and the code is Nurse Carla. I will leave all the information in the description box. So if you guys are interested in purchasing a shirt for a friend or yourself, then go ahead and check out my description box. Before we get started with the video, I do want to mention that in every state is going to be completely different. I live in Chicago, Illinois, so I'm giving you guys the salary for what nurses make here. I want you guys to take in consideration that maybe your state might pay more or they might pay a lot less, so just know that it's not going to be equal across the board. All right, so I'm going to start with the lowest paying job to the highest paying job. For number 10, I have a research nurse. A research nurse makes about $71,000 a year, and what they do a lot of research. Obviously, they play a huge role in improving patients' care. They also write papers, articles. These type of nurses evaluate if the policies they have put into place are working or not. They analyze, they evaluate, and they put new implementations. So it's a lot of research they do. Honestly, without this type of nurses, we wouldn't have the quality care that we provide to our patients. Number 9 is a critical care nurse. So a critical care nurse makes about $71,000 a year. And in order to be a critical care nurse, you have to be highly skilled because they deal with life and death matters in a daily basis, and you really have to be able to process things very quickly because you have to be able to make decisions in seconds, because you can't just be like, what should we do with this patient? No, you have to make sure that you are ready to make decisions. You have to just go with it. It's definitely a lot of pressure to be a critical care nurse, and that's the reason why I don't know why they don't get paid more, but it is what it is. For number 8 is an administrator nurse. Nurse administrators do oversee other nurses in helping them with personal matters. They help develop policies, procedures, and they also coordinate between nurses and other departments. I think this is probably the least of my favorite jobs. I personally don't see myself being in an office. I just find it a little boring, but I think this is a great job if you are wanting to be a nurse, but you're afraid of maybe the blood or needles and you're just not a big fan of what nursing, like the other nursing jobs, require of you. It's definitely a very good job. I think you have a huge role to play, but it's just, I don't know, it's just something that I definitely don't see myself doing. So number 7 is a nurse educator. A nurse educator makes $85,000 a year. So as a nurse educator, you get to pass on all your knowledge that you've learned throughout the years. Well, that's if you decide to do nursing and then go into teaching, which I feel like a lot of nurses do that. They work at a hospital or they do whatever they have to do and then they decide to move on and teach. There's nothing like having a teacher that when they're teaching you, they tell you stories of when they were nurses and caring for people. I think it's awesome to go through the experiences so you're able to provide more knowledge to your students. I think another cool part about being a nurse educator is that you get the best of both worlds, especially if you decide to be a clinical instructor as well as to teach, because you're able to teach your students as well as go into the hospitals and still get that feeling or experience of caring for patients. For number 6 is aesthetic nursing. So an aesthetic nurse annual salary is $90,000 a year, and this can average in so many ways. It can be as low as $50,000 to $150,000 or more. This kind of profession, you do have a lot of clients, so the more clients you have, the more money you make, and also it'll depend depends if you have your own practice or if you're working for someone else. This is the type of nurse I want to be. As I mentioned in my previous video, I see myself having my own practice and having my own medical spa. As an aesthetic nurse, you can work at a medical spa, you can work at a health clinic, you can work doing cosmetic procedures as well as plastic surgery. So you can work hand by hand with a surgeon, or you can also work with estheticians. There's just so much you can do. This is definitely my favorite job. For number 5, I have a nurse practitioner. So an annual salary for a nurse practitioner is $100,000 a year. As a nurse practitioner, you are allowed to take consultations as well as assessments, and you're also able to prescribe medication. I think this is a great career for you if you are wanting to be a nurse but you want something a little bit more than being a nurse, like more responsibility. To become a nurse practitioner, you will actually become a nurse first, and then you will jump into a program to become an NP. For number 4 is a neonatal nurse practitioner. They make about $103,000 a year, which is very similar to a nurse practitioner. However, a neonatal nurse practitioner obviously specializes in babies. If you love caring for babies, I think this is a great career path. NNP is an advanced practice nurse that cares for premature and sick babies. So a lot of the times you are going to be working at an ICU. And I think this is the sad part. Even though I think caring for children is such a beautiful thing, I do feel that you have to be very strong-minded, because I don't know, you get to see a lot of sad things, and honestly, you don't always care for kids that are happy or that are, you know, in good condition. So I think you definitely have to be very strong-minded and, you know, just be ready for what might come your way. For number 3, I have a midwife nurse, and a midwife nurse makes $105,000 a year. So as a midwife nurse, you focus a lot in labor and delivery as well as prenatal care. Many times as nurses do own their own practice. It all depends on the stage of experience they have. You also provide a lot of emotional support to women giving birth. So I think this is such a cool career. For number 2, we have a psychiatric nurse Try saying that 10 times. A psychiatric nurse practitioner, and their annual salary is $120,000 a year. As a psychiatric NP, you are able to assess as well as diagnose and prescribe medication. You deal with a lot of patients that have mental disorders, depression, suicidal thoughts, abuse problems, alcoholics. You deal with the whole spectrum with mental disorders. This is probably one of my second favorite jobs. If I could do anything else, I've always been so interested in why people do what they do and why people suffer the way they do. But I also feel that you have to be mentally, emotionally, physically ready to deal with people's illnesses. I've had friends, well, this specific friend, she worked at a mental health hospital where she literally worked there for about a year or so, and she told me that she went through so much. She actually walked in on so many people trying to commit suicide. Many times a lot of her patients tried hurting her. Just the things that she would hear from these patients really messed her up, and she told me how she wasn't ready for this job, but she took it because they do pay really good money. And when she stopped working there, she actually ended up getting therapy herself because she was just not okay after that job. I think this is such a special but complicated career that you really have to be physically, emotionally, and mentally ready for it. And lastly, number 1 is hold on.
Anesthesiologist. Anesthesiologist.
Anesthesiologist.
Anesthesiologist.
Anesthesiologist. Okay. Whatever. Okay, so that type of nurse, their annual salary is $150,000 a year. Cha-ching! So what they do is they take care of patients' anesthesia before, during, and after procedures, like surgical procedures. In order to be this type of nurse, you really have to be highly skilled because you can kill someone if you give the wrong dose. So it only makes sense why they make so much money. With this profession, you can work at a hospital, you can work with a dentist, with a surgeon. You can literally work anywhere where they need to put people to sleep. I hope you guys found this video useful. And by the way, thank you for recommending for me to record this video. I really appreciate when you guys comment on my videos because I love interacting with you guys. By the way, we just hit 3,000 followers, so thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching and liking my videos. It just makes me so excited to keep filming content for you guys and just doing things that you guys want to watch. So I really appreciate all the feedback. With that being said, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. I really hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.